Welcome, gamers, to this week's episode of Last Call Gaming. We're on episode 79. My name is Craig Prowlis, and that is Andrew Montemayor. And Andrew, how are you doing today?
It's a little weird. We're almost to 100, and it's just kind of hard to believe because at first we're like, okay, we won't get past like 20, we won't get past 50, we won't get past 75, and now we're cruising.
Yeah, next episode's going to be 80, so that is a very fun feeling to have. And yeah, it is kind of cool to be this far into it just to see how far we have gotten. Now, guys, normally we will drink a beer on the show. We'll tell you to go grab one as well. I'm not stopping you from going to go grab one, but Andrew actually has something he has to go do after this. I've got a couple people that I gotta go meet up with at a bar after this, so that's what I'm gonna end up doing my drinking. So this week, actually, there will be no beers, but feel free to drink yourself. So I mean, I'm not gonna stop you.
Have ice cold water and hydrate.
Actually, no, we should have at least got like ice cubes and water or something to keep the whistle wet. But moving into plugs real quick, guys. Check us out on Linktree. That is in the description. That'll take you to all of our social medias, from Facebook to Instagram, all that, as well as other podcasts and other podcast services. If you guys are checking out the show outside of YouTube and on the audio only. And we're going to mute that bad boy for me. Make sure you guys, if you're watching this, hit subscribe and hit the like button and leave a comment, whether that be on YouTube or the other podcasts, because that does help us out tremendously, does it not?
Yeah, always. Give us that like, give us that subscribe. Just give it to us, dude.
Please, I'm begging you at this point. So, guys, let's move into the big story. And the one we're going to talk about first is that Gearbox Entertainment was just purchased by the Swedish company, the Embracer Group, for $1.3 billion. And now, if Embracer Group does not sound familiar to you, it's because they were recently known as THQ Nordic AB, and that name's changed a few times. So what they are actually the parent company of is they have 8 big ones here, and it's the Amplifier Game Investment, Coffee Stain Holding, Deca Games, Easy Brain, now Gearbox Software, Coach Media, Saber Interactive, and THQ Nordic. And THQ Nordic easily probably has the most out of them. So between those 8, there's about 57, smaller game design and game development groups within those. And those big projects they have are like Darksiders, Dead Island, Metro, Saints Row. And upcoming games they have is like Biomutant, I think, is a big one coming out.
I think that's the real only big one that I think is on the horizon that they mentioned is Biomutant.
Yeah, so these guys are extremely big. So what they actually just picked up now is the Gearbox company, and Gearbox Entertainment, and they're the guys that are known for Borderlands. Now, they've done a lot of other publishing on their own as well as development, but Borderlands is really their bread and butter. So I
think you're forgetting about Aliens, Colonial Marines. That might be their bread and butter.
The one that no one remembers, and they've done other things.
People remember that.
Yeah, but not for the good, only the bad. They've got other things like Brothers in Arms, and Duke Nukem was another big one. But Borderlands would be the stuff worth mentioning, and it's crazy because Andrew and I were talking. Xbox, all these companies are going out and buying things, and it's kind of interesting, that Gearbox gets this stamp of 1.3 billion, and now they're being merged into this group. So on paper, I mean, you're looking at what they're acquiring and everything they're getting. Is it worth the money they spent, and is that a good team to be acquiring them?
I don't think that they are worth 1.3 billion, but I'm not a fan of Borderlands, and because even still, from an outside perspective, it's not like Borderlands is like a 10-10 across the boards game or anything like that. They do fairly well. And they sell good numbers, and I'm sure, I mean, they even have more DLC coming up. But also, I mean, that's their big game, coming off of that Duke Nukem that they did, which was a flop, and people hated it. Aliens Colonial Marines didn't even work right because of, a typo for, 20 years. So, I don't understand where 1.3 billion is coming from. But, I mean, I guess more power to them for saying, hey, we're that company that sold for that much.
Yeah, well, because you got to remember, THQ Nordic for a while was just buying up everything. So this may just be one of the things you're looking at going, okay, now we've got something that has a big, IP attached to them. Because when you look at
IP at that.
Yeah, when you look at Embracer Group, they do a lot of good stuff that involves, big AAA titles as well as, smaller independent stuff. So, but Andrew's right, though. Does Borderlands alone make them worth that much? And I would probably say no as well, unless there's a number that we're missing and Borderlands makes so much more than I'm just not, that we're just not sure of. Because one of the things that I like about them acquiring them is that I hope they start getting better management and things like that, because, you know, there shouldn't be games like Aliens, Colonial Marines, whatever, you know, having typos in their code and things like that. And one of the good things that I extremely like about these guys is most of their games, and because I didn't look into all of them, they're not boggled down with microtransactions. And if they're taking over games like Borderlands, I would hope that they would kind of fade those things out and kind of wrap more around their style of game making and game development. But I mean, is there anything else besides that before we dive into kind of what the statement here was?
They did mention that they are still going to be working with 2K and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That there's no bad blood or anything, and they're going to be helping out with because Borderlands 3 has more DLC coming out soon, I believe they said. I don't believe there's like a hard date on that, and they're still going to be working on that with 2K. So
yeah, because one of the statements here they had in in the article kind of discussing what was going on with the merger. Goes on to say, as the proud publisher of the Borderlands franchise, we are happy for our partners at Gearbox in this exciting new chapter for their organization, publisher 2K Games said in a separate statement. The merger does not change 2K's relationship with Gearbox, nor our role as the publisher for the Borderlands IP or any other projects we are currently working on with the studio. We look forward to continuing our long-term partnership with this incredibly talented team and delivering many more exciting entertainment experiences to gaming fans around the world. So it is kind of cool that 2K and Take-Two and all them aren't being pushed out, because generally speaking, when you're getting bought by somebody, that is now going to be, you know, basically your publisher. You know, if a bigger team picks you up, it means they got the funds to back your games while you're focusing on development. So that is kind of odd that 2K and them are still going to be a part of that, unless that maybe was written into some of the Borderlands stuff. Because you notice they don't really talk about anything else. They just kind of mention other projects, but nothing else is even talked about.
right.
So, I mean, I think it looks good on the front. What's kind of rubbing people the wrong way is the CEO, Randy Pitchford, is still kind of attached to this. I mean, what's your kind of recollection with this guy? Because he obviously screwed up the Aliens game and that delivery.
I think more so what it was too is like when that game came out, like he was just corporate mouthpiece, like, oh, it's a good game, like you should get out there. There are no problems with this game, like that sort of thing. Like I don't think he's ever actually came out and made any sort of apology for that game when it ran like absolute shit. So
yeah, he's one of these guys. If you look at his tweets, he's just constantly crying about stuff. Like when he was kind of shot himself in the foot saying that Borderlands was going to have no microtransactions, but kind of went back and said, no, I meant no in-game currency that buy it. You can still use money. Come on, you guys all knew what that was about. He was writing like Game Informer, like, why would you guys fuck me like this? He was writing some weird tweets, but he's also a weirdo. Like he got caught like with a company thumbnail, a jump drive or something like that had like porn on it, and his answer to it was he thought it was like a magic trick. Like this is all stuff you guys can go look up. The guy is a weirdo.
He's got a lot going on.
And remember when he was on stage, I forget what he was at exactly, and he started like playing the guitar and like calling people. He sounded like a bigot song. Have you seen that?
Nah.
Dude, it's bad. So this guy is just kind of a weirdo. He's got assault allegations. There was allegations that he had some tension with I think it was the voice of Claptrap and things like that. So it's like, I was kind of hoping, which I think a lot of people were too, is that he kind of gets detached from this as they get absorbed. Or maybe he just loses he doesn't gain any more power. I would hope that his role would kind of be watered down now that there's higher ups above him.
I think if anything, they said in their statement that like he's going to be overseeing like another big game and like a big franchise and like a whole studio and everything. So if anything, it sounds like he might be getting more, if not the same. But I definitely think he is someone that like weighs that company down.
Yeah, go check this guy out because he is kind of a nutbag all on his own. But I mean, good for Gearbox Entertainment to get purchased. You know, that's kind of whatever, you know, development team wants. They want to get absorbed, so now they have more resources to do more games. And the other thing you can only hope for is that Borderlands isn't going to be their only thing, and that you get any of their resting IP to either be remerged or revitalized, or something big comes out of like a blend. Because now that you have like Darksiders and things like that under the same roof with Borderlands, you can start seeing maybe some crossover, or at least something that we branch out, or new ideas that be spark out of existing things that they're not pull from each other.
A Borderlands Aliens crossover, who knows?
You think will happen? Ooh, did you hear that thing that or maybe this is old. I don't know how old this news is. That Kevin Hart's supposed to be in Borderlands now is rolling.
Oh, the movie, yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it is what it is. I feel like he's kind of in everything. So
yeah, right. So that was just a matter of time. So it's just a big thing that's happening in terms of buying power. So just make sure you guys are up to date on it. And is 1.3 billion the price tag that is worth it for essentially just acquiring Borderlands at this point?
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Anything else you want to add on that?
Send me a 1.3 billion personally.
Please, I'll take it. So the other big thing that we wanted to talk about was the Switch sales have came out, and their financial report just launched, and it's showing that the Switch has taken over, has beaten the lifetime sales of the 3DS. Now, Andrew, I know you've got some numbers in front of you. Where are we sitting at this?
So this is as of December from when their sales numbers came out. The 3DS was sitting at, and I don't have exact, I just rounded off some of them. The 3DS was sitting at 75.9 million. The Switch is currently just above that at 79.8 million. Now, I think they'll pass the next one, which is the Game Boy Advance. That's at 81.5 million. I even think they'll pass the Wii, which is at 101 million. I even think that they will pass the Game Boy / Game Boy Color at 118 million. But I don't think that they'll beat the DS, which is the highest at 154 million. Now, what's even more important to note is that the 3DS had like 8 to 9 years of a lifespan to accumulate this number. The Switch did that number in 3 years.
Yeah, just under 4, yeah, because the Switch was out in 2017, and the 3DS launched in 2011. It's weird to think the Switch has been out since 2017. I feel like it's been longer than that.
I feel like it's a 2015 console.
Exactly.
Like,
I was just going to say the thing. It feels like it's been at least 5 years or so, but the thing is it's 2017, and it's crushing it. And, I mean, obviously the pandemic lent some help to that.
For sure.
Everybody was able to grab it. And another thing, because Andrew and I were texting about this, we always saw it kind of passing the 3DS. That is essentially its replacement. Just, was it ever going to be this soon? I don't think anyone saw that coming. But one of the other things they were showing in that report is that Mario 8 Deluxe is their number one selling game, sitting at 33.4 million units sold. But Animal Crossing New Horizon is just behind that at 31.18. I do think that will pass up Mario Kart, because Mario Kart, if I'm not mistaken, was Deluxe on the Wii U? Are they counting or was that just Mario Kart 8 and the Deluxe is only on the Switch? Because if they're counting both those as sales figures, then I think New Horizons are going to pass it up pretty easily.
I think Deluxe is just the Switch version of that Mario Kart 8, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't know.
I do not know. But yeah, it is cool that the Switch took, it's in the top 5 now. That's very, very impressive. And Nintendo, they've got to be patting themselves on the back over there going, guys, this was the system we've been waiting on. What's anyone's complaint? Oh, we lack power. Oh, what do we care? Like, this thing is selling gangbusters. I mean, I have 2 in this house.
Yeah, but now in classic Nintendo fashion, they're sitting there like, all right, guys, how can we fuck this up?
You think?
Oh, after the Wii U?
Well, because they also, a lot of speculation was that they were coming up with like a Switch Pro sometime soon, and that was kind of put on hold. There was a couple articles saying Nintendo has no plans of at least anything this year. So, I mean, they still got another year to kind of push sales forward. And the fact that they're less than halfway away from the goal of, would you say it was the DS or the GBA of all time?
The DS. The DS
well,
is all time.
The fact that they're less than half away from that number in terms of sales right now, like, they've got a good chance to do that. And if you were to give them another 4 years, like how 3DS had, they got a really good chance at hitting that.
I think that is what they should do, is not put out another console or a pro unit. Just ride this life cycle out and then come out with your next whatever it is you're going to do. Maybe the pro model is, like how the
beefed up version.
Yeah, like how the Series X is a beefed up version of, whatever the Xbox is. I think that's what they should do versus just kind of like, oh, all right, well, now we're going to put out a pro and then, whatever. Because I mean, based on that, they've already kind of conceded to like, all right, well, we're not like The Last of Us, we're not whatever. We're going to make what Nintendo makes and what people are known for, and that's, worked out terrific for them so far. So
great on them. Anything else on that you want to add?
No, I think it's really crazy that Animal Crossing sold that much.
Dude, Animal Crossing was the unsung hero that just came out of nowhere, and now when you talk to anybody that's a Switch owner, it's like a guaranteed game that, I would say 98, he's the 2%, 90% of people would have as a Switch owner. I mean, I went and got it, so.
Yeah, I know you got it.
A lot of fun.
I actually really like the, because I know they're really hard to get. They were for a moment, I don't know if they still are, but I really like the Animal Crossing Switch that they put out. I actually thought that one was...
Well, what sucks is that it came in that cool color with the cons, but there's no game attached to it. It was still a separate unit you had to get. It wasn't like a bundle, like when I bought my Mario Kart 8 bundle. Like, it was just the theme or the skin on it, no game.
I think I would still buy it, even without.
Hey, you know what? You look like a kind of guy that would. So, Andrew, let's move into a little riffing it up. Would you like to go first or second?
Sure. I will go first.
Hey, take it. The mic is yours.
So, my first one's actually going to be something that's kind of bigger for those of you that are super into sports. I kind of really only play like Madden, but I'd say more like dabble in it really than like hardcore. But EA is bringing back college football. Now, it's not going to be NCAA like it was before. It is still going to involve it. It's weird what they've said in their note because it's in some capacity that they don't have the rights to some teams and the likeness of the players. And again, it boils down to like a whole lawsuit that they had. We actually haven't had an NCAA game since 2013 because they're not allowed to pay the players, and it turned into this whole big thing about who's getting paid and who's profiting off of what. That's why we haven't had one of those games since then. It ended in like a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. It was like pretty crazy. But they're bringing it back as EA Sports College Football. And again, in their statement, it's not going to be out this year, but it is going to have, campuses, possibly teams, and it said like mascots and events that people love, so I would think maybe that includes like the Rose Bowl and other stuff like that. I just think it'd be kind of weird if they can't include players, because then that's almost akin to something like, I don't know, like Blitz or something like that, right, where it's like made up teams, made up players. Like that's why people play Madden, is you're not playing fucking Johnny Utah on the Washington Sentinels. You're playing, Tom Brady on, fucking Buccaneers.
Yeah, I just don't get where the push is coming from. It's like, you guys are still doing Madden and it sells great every year. Like, if you haven't had one in this many years, like, and you can't have actual players or mascots or teams, whatever that variation goes of, like, then what's really, exactly, then what's the point? I mean, they can't, I mean, unless they did the math and they're like, oh, well, this will generate us this much more per year if we do this. It's like, then why can't anyone else do this? Like, I don't like one studio making all the football games. You know what I mean? Like, why isn't anyone else doing this? Because if that's the direction they're going, because the main thing no one does Madden is because they own the rights to all that. But if they're going to make a football game, a college football game, that's Blitz looking like, then I feel like other people need to jump into this water and at least put EA back on the drive to make better games.
Like 2K Sports or something like that, yeah. Before anyone leaves a hateful comment in there, I did get it mixed up. I meant Shane Falco. Johnny Utah is from Point Break, and he also played football. Hey. Another Keanu Reeves character.
A couple of well, I was thinking, like, Johnny Utah, wait, is that right? But hey. Anything else on that?
Nope.
All right, so my riff, guys, is that Mass Effect Legendary Edition is something we've been talking about for a while, and the release date was announced as May 14th, Hopefully that doesn't get pushed back. I don't see at this point that it would. But also that a nice new cinematic trailer came out for it, and it looks great. It is, it's one of the things people are kind of getting confused. It is a remaster versus a remake of a game. So this is going to be, it's not going to be built from the ground up like a Resident Evil 2 would be, or the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. This is just a remaster of them. So some of the highlights that it had is that it is showing that it's going to be 4K at 60 frames per second. It is going to have DLC spanned out from across all three of them, although Pinnacle is not going to be one of those DLCs, which had some people asking why.
Is that the multiplayer one?
Yeah, that's so. And the multiplayer from number 3 is not going to be in that entirely. But Pinnacle, I think, was Mass Effect 1 DLC that not everybody really even cared for. So I don't know why a lot of people are making a big deal. But it was brought up because they lost the code for it. That's the main reason why it's not there. Or they found it and it was corrupted, or something along those lines.
That's funny.
That wasn't going to make it. They're fixing all the old and glitchy controls that it had, mainly being like the cover in number 1 and driving the Mako around. Like, it was really sloppy, and so that's all going to be tightened. They're bringing over... See, I played the guys in this, so I wasn't sure, and I guess maybe I should have looked more into it. It's saying they're bringing the Femme Shepherd from Mass Effect 3 to be playable throughout all of them. Now, I thought you could play a female Shepherd from number 1 on. Maybe there was some sort of customization thing that only happened in 3, or something like that, because I don't pick the girl character, so I wasn't really aware that there was a difference between what 1 or 3 would have been.
I wonder if they're changing it, because I want to say, I think that you can be, if not started in 2, but I want to say that, like, even when you play, there's some discrepancies, because, like, canonically, it's supposed to be the male shepherd, so maybe they made that a little bit more ambiguous to where it could be referring to, like, him or her.
Well, yeah, and we'll see what that is, because in number 3, she's there, so it's supposed to be heard throughout now. And like I said earlier, the multiplayer is going to be gone, and that's kind of what a lot of people were getting mad about, because Mass Effect did have a really cool and fun online multiplayer, but in a couple of interviews and articles they were saying it would have been how do we do this? It's going to take more budget. It might push the game back to a further date. What do you give people that were already playing the game before? We got to rebuild it. So they were kind of just like, let's just scrap it. Let's make 3 really good remastered games.
I think it's a better idea.
Put it out. And there's so much more multiplayer out there to play than just playing Mass Effect. Like, if they make that in the future coming Mass Effect, and that's probably what they'll hold on to. When the next Mass Effect comes on, they'll probably remake that with the multiplayer system, because there is still a really big audience for that. So, that's coming May 14th. Hopefully that date holds, because we have been fooled before.
I'm stoked for it. I want to try it. Have you seen?
This will be your first time through. You never played.
I've never played any Mass Effect,
and I haven't
except
played it
for
2000, whatever it came out.
What was that other one?
Andromeda.
Yeah, I tried Andromeda, and I just felt like it was too much at one time. That I was like, oh, this sucks. I hate it.
I'd love you to get back into it. I love Andromeda.
But have you seen the other reason people are mad at this game?
Pinnacle, no multiplayer. Oh, they're taking out Miranda's ass shots.
They've changed a lot of the camera angles, so you're not getting like gratuitous like ass shots, or they even said at one point there's a guy shepherd there, or it could be the girl shepherd, and they're sitting with like their legs open to where I don't know, it's just like a weird camera angle shot, but they can't change the model. So what they've done is they've been able to go in somehow and change like the camera angle, so you're seeing it from like a different spot. So there's all kinds of people. Like there was one dude whose comment was like, if you guys are changing this and you don't really understand why the game has like an M for mature and you've already failed this game, thanks for saving me $60 or $70. I'm like, Jesus Christ, if that's why you're playing this game, dude, get the fuck on.
Well, her name's, in my mind, I'm remembering Miranda, but it might be Ashley.
No, that's the big one that they were talking about is Miranda, because I think that was like within the screenshot of the thumbnail that I was looking at. Is you're standing there and it makes no sense why it's like just her lower back, like from her hair down to like her thighs, and you're seeing her ass while you're trying to talk to her.
Well, see, and that's the thing I don't like either. I don't like when they do that. Because if you were going to remake the game, then remake it. Let's say we took something out. But if you're going to remaster it, like this is already a game that was in history. Like this is how it was made. For better or for worse. Keep the game in its original content. I would say
technically they are. They're just moving the camera angle higher.
Yeah, but you're not. But it's like changing a movie scene. It's like you're not watching the same scene anymore. And now, take that as you will, if you want to see her butt or you don't want to see the butt, whatever. But generally speaking, I just don't like when they shift things like that, especially on a remake.
If it's already been out, been a high number one
exactly.
Game,
and who's really gonna like throw a fit that you get to see her butt for 2 extra seconds or whatever? Now, if you were to remake the game, then that's on you to remake it and make it a different version. But it's a remaster, and I never like when they do things like that, because that just to me doesn't make any sense, whether it's a butt or someone drinking alcohol or doing a drug or something. Like, if you're going to remove it from something that's already been made and you're remastering it, then you have to leave in what was already there.
I think it's even weirder when they take stuff out when someone's like smoking like a cigarette. Like, I've always found that the weirdest like censorship, as if no one's ever seen like an adult or someone else like smoking.
Yeah, so I mean, leave that. That's up to you guys. Leave your comments down below. Let us know what you think about Mass Effect.
If you're not buying this game over her ass, let me know.
Yeah, because it already cost me $10 on that one. So that pretty short episode. So we'll just move into the ending of Andrew. What are you up to?
Right now, I've actually just been playing lots of Call of Duty. Jump on there with me if you want to. Andrew Kills with 3 L's.
Oh, now you're throwing out the gamer tag.
And I've been playing the medium just for a little bit, but I haven't delved too deep into it. I think tonight or tomorrow, I'm just gonna like smash right through it. Again, it's only like an 8-hour game, so I'm just gonna like really commit to like a sesh for it. And other than that, that's really it. I've been trying nightly to catch like Godzilla on like Hulu fucking TV, but like I just keep missing it because I haven't seen Godzilla 1 or 2 or Kong Skull Island for that matter.
What?
So the new King Kong versus Godzilla looks pretty sick. That I'm like, damn, like I want to watch that. Let me go back and check out whatever. And I keep missing it. Either that or it'll be on, and I'm like, it's already kind of late.
I'll catch up the next one.
I'll just put on Resident Evil 1 or 2 because those are the 2 movies I actually can stand out of that franchise. I actually kind of like 2 a lot, but other than that, what about yourself?
I thought you had a YouTube shout out you want to give.
Oh, I did. You know what? Thank you for reminding me.
I'll feed you, baby bird.
Check out Summoning Salt. Again, he does history of speedrunning, and he breaks down like all kinds of like weird points and how people come up with certain tricks and when it was invented, and it's just like a whole big thing on it. And it's all kinds of different games, from Like, I think there's like Ninja Gaiden in there to his most recent one, which is Mario Brothers 2. Either way, it's like really, really good shit, especially the way he breaks it down and explains it. And I've done a couple speed runs. I have one on the channel, shameless plug, but I'm not like crazy good at them. That it's crazy to watch what some people do or just are capable of. And I think it's just really interesting to think of like, how do you find out some of these tricks to where you're beating Mario 64 in like 10 minutes, and it's just wild, some of the stuff they come up with.
Nice. So is that everything? Is that
now,
everything, right?
I'm
Okay,
done.
me? Yes. So what am I up to? What did I write down? So I started playing medium, but again, that's not my really cup of tea kind of game. So I'll beat it, but it's just I wasn't clamoring to like beat it in a rush. So what I did start picking up though is Battlefront 2,
which I've been telling them to play for like a year.
Yeah, and because that was kind of more my speed for beating it as a quick game. I did find it to be rather kind of buggy and glitchy.
Yeah,
my game did freeze at times, and there were other points that just stormtroopers are flying around everywhere and they would just get up and fall back down after I killed them. So it's weird to think that a game that's been out that long is still having issues like that. But the storyline was fire, and I think the DLC is free if you have Game Pass Ultimate. So the DLC Resurrection, once you beat the game, has like a 3 more mission arc that you can do. It was really good. I was playing, I'm like, oh, I guess EA doesn't make only shitty Star Wars game, because I actually really did enjoy that, and it was cool to find out that it's actually part of the canon now. I did like that.
Dude, there's so many sweaty people on that game. Like, there's achievements for playing online. I don't know if you're going to try and get some of those.
Probably not.
But when you're playing, like, the fucking Jedi or the Sith and stuff like that, there's so many people that are good on there and just ganging up on you.
So that's what I thought. I'm like, I'm going to jump in there and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and it's going to be fucking...
I just read online for someone was like, if you're not good at this game, just get someone who can force push and try to throw people off the edge. And so I got this perfect map. Dude, I was fucking leading my team, not by, like, sword fighting, but I'm just fucking throwing everyone off the edge left and right. There was, like, 2 people who actually weren't playing, so I was like, cool, that's even easier. I'm just running around looking for them and throwing them off. I cheated.
Achievements for that? Should I try it?
I think there's one for like killing 3 people at the same time, which they said is like the hardest one to get in the game. And I was trying to kill this fucking dude who wasn't playing, and 2 other people rushed me, and I was trying to get the one kill and threw everyone off the side or something like that. I'll look it up after this because I forgot what it was.
Maybe I will check it out. So that's what I was playing, and who knows what I'm going to play next. Maybe I'll jump back into the medium or see something else. But I've still been reading some books. I'm almost done with book 2 in the Summoner. I have like 50 pages left, so hopefully by the time we're next week, I'm on book 3. And then watching. So I've been caught up on my WandaVisions. I let 2 episodes go by. Watch it, dude. If you haven't watched WandaVision yet?
No, I heard it picks up in episode 4,
dude, though. Okay, so if you're... Because, like, Denny and Dante, they're, like, waiting until the end of the... until it's all done. But I'm like, dude, no. Like, start it at least now, and from where you can catch up to, you're going to be like, oh, shit. Now I'll watch the last 2 episodes. So, but it had me... I was watching, I'm like, dude, I remember the MCU and all that stuff because there's a lot of movies, and I'm looking at it going like, I remember this name, I remember this person, because WandaVision is kind of peppering in these people. I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna rewatch all of them. So I have Disney Plus, and there's a cool thing. It has every movie that comes out in Phase 1, 2, 3, and 4, but then there's a bottom one that says how to watch it, in the chronological order. So I was like, fuck it, because a lot of those movies I've only seen once, even though like movies like Iron Man I've seen like 5 times. So I was like, fuck it. So I started watching, I watched Captain America so far, and I just got done with Captain Marvel, and then next is Iron Man. So I'm going to slowly just cruise through that whole, and now that you kind of know who's been in charge of the Infinity Stones, who's done this in the past, now I'm kind of like, it's like rewatching Game of Thrones. I'm like, oh, now this makes a lot more sense. Now that I know that this person does this person does that. So I haven't done that in a very long time, watched a lot of those movies. So that is what I'm looking forward to complete. I don't know how many I'm going to do a week, though, because, I don't know how many the movies there are, 20-something.
There's a lot.
Or something like that. So maybe 2, 3 a week, and hopefully this time next week I'm on, like, what was after Iron Man? Thor, maybe, I think?
Chronologically, I think Thor, yeah.
Something like that. So that is what I'm up to. And with that brings us to the end of this lovely episode. So, Andrew, have we had fun? Do you have anything else you want to say to these kids out here?
Just make sure you give me that like and subscribe, bro.
Make sure you hit the like, guys. Make sure you hit the subscribe. Make sure you follow us on all the social medias as well. Hit that Linktree button and check us out. So, guys, until next episode, my name is Craig Paralis, and that is Mandra Montemayor. Cheers.
See ya.